All right. It is the David Washington Show. I'm your host, of course, David Washington. Welcome back. It's been a while, hasn't it? So much going on, so much to talk about. Let's get to it. Okay, so the presidential debate that everyone's been talking about ad nauseum. Everyone has their opinion. I have my opinion, my unique perspective, like everyone else. However, I want to take a different viewpoint. So let's just say that this particular debate is very important for Vice President Kamala Harris. Period. Because for about maybe a third of the voting public, really don't know who she is or don't know where she stands. And this is really important for her to actually win this because if you believe in the polls, which again, if you know me and you've been following us here at the Jay Washington Network, polls don't mean shit except for the one on election day. So saying that, these polls drive the opinion and the strategies of candidates, particularly at this level. So if you're looking at this as the Harris and Trump campaigns are, they're concerned that it's going to be a close race. I think we kind of knew that. The way that our government electoral system is set up, from gerrymandering to redistricting, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, we know that this election and future elections are going to be very close. Um, so this debate is pretty much for those so-called undecideds, or what I like to call those voters who are on the peripheral, or those voters who just aren't engaged in the electoral process. Some may identify this group of individuals as young Hispanic and or Black men. Some may say these are folks who just don't have the time or the energy to do the research and blah 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 blah. Whatever it is, there's this demographic out there that's just not engaged. Well, when you do the research, you'll find that of the last 11 presidential election cycles, there was only one time that the actual vote count for one candidate, one candidate was more than those individuals who did not vote. And that was the last election between Biden and Donald Trump. Okay. Biden actually secured more votes, of course, than President Trump, and candidate Biden secured more votes than those individuals who did not vote at all. But prior to that, more people decided to sit on the sidelines and not vote than those individuals who actually voted for the candidate themselves, whether it was Trump, Clinton, Obama, Romney, Obama, McCain, so forth and so on. That's a damning indictment on the American political system and, of course, on American voters. It is what it is. But about a third of us who are eligible to vote don't vote. That's the real scandal here. It's not, people, without IDs voting, or folks voting in Florida when they have residents, their primary residence is in, Michigan or whatever. No, 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 no. That's not the problem. The problem is those folks who don't vote. So, okay, now we've talked about that audience that needs to be reached with this particular debate, which typically this audience, this demographic that the candidates are trying to reach, won't be really watching this. And that's the sad truth. They won't be engaged in this debate. That's just not the audience that these type of debates will attract. So I'll just let that, sit right there for a moment. So in preparation for this debate, I took down some notes that I think will make somewhat of a better, no, it will make a better debate because it avoids the usual traps, the usual tropes, the usual format of typical presidential debates. So let's talk a little bit about preparation. A lot of pundits have already talked about what the two candidates need to do to prep. Hey, at their age, at the position or station in life that the two candidates are in, if they're not ready for this, they'll never be ready. We saw then candidate for president Kamala Harris's debate performances. What she needs to do is defend those Biden Harris policies that worked. Those Biden Harris policies that have demonstrated effectiveness and prosperity for Americans. She has to be specific without being specific. So what I'm trying to say there is that Vice President Harris needs to give some specifics without getting, deep into, the muckety muck of policy. Just talk to me like I'm a fifth grader. Break it down just that simple. Keep it simple. Also, and this may be a little controversial. However, this is important because she's going to be on the international stage and she will be, as president, if elected as president, she will be viewed by millions, if not billions of people who are not Americans. She's going to have to travel to different cultures, different countries, and demonstrate the power of the most important person in the world, the most powerful person in the world, the president of the United States. So she needs to present as presidential without being masculine, still lean into her femininity, but also exhibit strength of the presidency. And then, for the vice president, she needs to put former President Donald J. Trump on the defense. Keep him on his heels, make him explain himself around policy that is real, okay? That came from his administration. And you can't lean into the Project 2025 stuff that too much longer. We know that the Trump administration has had ties to the authors of Project 2025. However, that's not the scare tactics that Democrats are using are just not, they're just not effective. And again, we talked about Project 2025 over a year ago, and no one was listening on the liberal or Democratic side. That's on you guys. Anyway, so for Donald Trump, President Trump, what President Trump should prepare for is staying calm. Staying calm. Vice President Harris is going to poke that bear. However, President Trump, stay calm. Stand firm in your policy agenda and your debate agenda. Meaning, for your policy agenda, talk about, again, the things that you delivered on. 1, the Supreme Court. 2, less regulation. 3, the tax cut. The other side may not agree with those achievements. However, those achievements have resonated with the American people. And then also, just like Vice President Harris should make Donald J. Trump defend his record, the former president needs to make Vice President Kamala Harris defend the Biden-Harris record. Simple as that. Whether it's the economy, the southern border, the Afghanistan withdrawal. Let them defend themselves. Let the vice president defend herself. And then lastly, don't take it personal. Really, don't take it personal. President Trump, you've been at this stage before. You've been on this stage before. Don't take it personal because, of course, the media, half of America, let's say a third of America, and of course, the Harris Walz campaign wants you to react in the way that could be detrimental to a solid debate effort. Okay? So that's for prep. Now, here's the unique part about the debate I want to talk about. Let me take a sip of this good coffee. Mmm, yummy. So, instead of the usual questions that we get over and over and over again that really don't make for an interesting and compelling debate, debates nowadays are built around entertainment, finding those or creating those got you moments, those sound bites that can define the campaign, creating those TikTok moments that really don't do anything to bring us together and really doesn't give us the best version of a campaign. So, what I'm saying here, instead of the usual questions for both candidates, let's talk specifics and limit the generalizations. Let's apply the Harris Walz policy agendas and the Trump Vance policy agendas to specific vignettes or specific scenarios that are more realistic and more engaging conversation than what we see in past debates. For instance, let's create different scenarios like the following: Black man, mid 50s, divorced with 0 kids, has savings, investments, a retirement account, self employed. What policy or initiative will make this particular voter support your campaign? Let's talk about your economic policy. How would it support, how would it make this particular voter's kitchen table issues that much better? Another example: Asian female, married, mid 40s, 1 child, a 10-year-old, has a career, has a mortgage, the usual American dream life. What policies will make her kitchen table issues that much better? White female, lesbian, 20 years old, college student, lives with parents, and is accumulating a lot of college debt. Okay? School loans, things like that. What kitchen table issues would your border policy address to make this particular person's life better? Your economic policy, this person's life that much better. Another example: Black female, early 80s, retired, world traveler, 0 debt. What policy in your economic agenda, particularly Social Security, how would that affect this particular voter's kitchen table issues? What policies will protect her investments so that she can continue to not only do the things that she loves to do during retirement, but also continue to build upon the generational wealth that she and her husband have created and would love to pass on to their children, their grandchildren, and so on and so forth. Another example, white male, late 50s, veteran, unemployed. What policies affecting veteran services, the Veteran Administration, Social Security, Medicare, that would make this particular voter's life and their kitchen table issues that much better? Hispanic male, gay, late 20s, nonprofit executive director, no children, college debt, living his best life. What kitchen table issues, regardless of political affiliation, will your policies address to make this particular voter's life that much better? Home ownership, making it more affordable. Everyday expenses, from the grocery store to car maintenance to getting your dry cleaning done. What of your policies as candidate for president will make this particular voter's life that much better? How are his kitchen table issues addressed? And finally, Hispanic female, separated from her husband, two children under 10 years old, living with parent, works full time. What is it about your policies? Again, it comes down to what's in your wallet, okay? What's in your purse? The money. The money. How am I going to afford to provide the best life for my two children as a Hispanic female, separated, living with her parent, working full time? How would childcare be affordable for me and safe for my children? How will school policy, educational policy affect my school age children? Will they be prepared for higher education, high school, college, or maybe not college, apprenticeships, volunteer work? What are there? What alternatives to college are there? And your policies in your agenda as presidential candidate will provide options for my children who may not want to go to college. Maybe they will want to start their own business. Internships, apprenticeships, as I stated before. How will your policies, particularly your economic policies and your educational policies, address the future prosperity of this Hispanic female, two children? It's a lot of examples there that I gave, and I believe we will have more engagement by the voting public if the debate format was similar to what I just described. Let's give some scenarios that Americans can identify with and determine what's best for their families and themselves and their communities, and get away from personalities. The media has an incredible responsibility of keeping our politicians in check, holding them accountable, moving away from the sensational, the personalities, the things that separate us, that keep us as Americans in our cliques, in our little demographics. The media here has an opportunity. I'm talking about you, ABC, and all these pundits and everyone who's going to be watching this debate. The media has a responsibility to the American people to give them a format that is more relevant than the formats for debates that we've seen in the past, period. There is a better way of debates. I'm always thinking about innovative approaches to what we do. And as Americans, we owe it to ourselves. At least 1 hour or a couple of hours out of the weekend, sit down, educate yourselves, learn about what's at stake. And we hear from all sides of the political spectrum. This is the most important election of our time. There's so much at stake. Democracy is threatened. Is it really? Because when you look at how these campaigns engage the voting public, it's business as usual. And if democracy is at stake, where have you been? I'm talking to you as the voter. If you truly believe that democracy is at stake, whether you're on one side or the other, where have you been? Are you just waiting for things to just go off? Are you going to crash out when things are not happening the way that you want them to? As a voter, every day, every election is important. And I understand that we all have responsibilities. We have our lives. But at the same time, when it comes down to what's important to yourself, your families, and your communities, isn't it worth taking the time to do your own damn research? Period. So think about this. Think about the scenarios. Think about how you would like future debates. Bring this to your local political organizations. The next time there's an election and there's a whole bunch of candidates who want to debate, bring this particular idea to those local political organizations and civic organizations that hold candidate forums, that hold candidate debates, and get more from the opportunity. So I just want to let you guys know that I really enjoy what I do. This is the best, and it's my first love, second career, and I really enjoy the impact that I'm having on those who are listening, who are watching, and I know I'm not going to get everything right, and I don't expect to. But what I do expect is the engagement between you and me. Our community is you. And I like to expand that community across all of our podcasts. Of course, you have Countertop Politics every Monday. Campaign insight, political innuendo, and of course, the secret sauce to winning campaigns. And boy, am I working on a project right now. I think I may save it for next year for our Leadership Academy with United Voice. It's examining and modeling, predictive modeling of the overvote and undervote in this past Florida primary election, and most likely we'll see the November general election when we have it. There's a better way, and I was talking to a client of mine and examining the over and undervote in her election, and we looked at the number, about 20,000 yikes undervotes, where people did not vote in her particular election. It was about a fifth, 20% more votes that were possible, but people just didn't feel engaged enough to actually vote for an individual in that particular election. And I want to know why. And I want to know how we can reduce that moving into the future. So that's a big project. I've already talked to someone about the modeling and things like that. Um, it's just part of the political innovation that we do every single day. This is what I do every single day. My fiance says, David, you work too much. I know. I love what I do. I just really love what I do. I love you too. I love my community. I love my family. I love my God. And I love you, my community. Ubuntu, please like, share, let everyone know about what we do here at Jay in Washington. And more importantly, at least for me, it's not about the subscriber base. It's more about the impressions. Okay. But for me, it's about the engagement, the comments. I do enjoy a great deal engaging with our community in the comments. So please keep the comments coming across all of our platforms, TikTok, Facebook, X, Instagram, LinkedIn. Oh boy, been talking a lot on LinkedIn. And believe it or not, there are some things that, even with some folks who are way out there on the right or way out there on the left, there's some space that we all can agree on. So I love engaging with you all. And another platform of engagement, community I want to invite you to watch is coming up this week, right after the debate, presidential debate between Vice President Kamala Harris and former President Donald J. Trump. That's tonight, September 10th. We will be broadcasting our newest limited series show, From the Margins, with James Lafont and myself, David Washington. And this is a no-holds-barred conversation about Central Florida politics, particularly here in the 3-county area, Seminole, Orange, and Osceola counties, and more towards the liberal perspective, since Jimmy is a liberal. I'm a Chicago Democrat, and we're going to hold that mirror up to the Democratic Party here in the state and here locally. It's needed. So I'm David Washington. This is the David Washington Show.